Okay, great.
Okay.
Got a full house.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll pass things over to Andrew. Andrew, you can go right ahead and start showing them the QC if you'd like.
Sure. So you're making my screen, correct?
Can you guys see the screen with NYCHA?
Yeah.
Picture of New York? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, to start off, this is kind of our the home screen for the application, and basically this is fully customizable. What we have here is what we did a presentation for NYCHA, and so we set it up for them, but we can modify it in any way. What most of our clients have chosen to do, though, is they usually put some kind of calendar on the front, whether it be, they'll say that what the goals are for that week, processing-wise, and then they also on this, you'll notice on the right side there's links. They have links to internal procedure guides, their admin plan, any HUD regulations that have come out. So basically, it's kind of a one-stop shop for going to find an answer, basically. Our next screen that I'm going to jump in directly is into our QC tool. Now, I'm going to kind of walk you through this step. What happens before we even get to this screen is we take we take all your 5A data, so everything that's been processed within whatever time periods you choose, and then we upload it into our system. From there, we can choose how we want to filter that information. We can search by the date that the information was imported. We can search by the action type of the 5A that was imported. We can review all files that are available. We can look at the ones that are in progress. We can see the ones that are completed. And then we also can look at the ones, determine which ones are pass-failed, and look at those as well. We're just going to look at everything that's in the system. And that's when I hit search, these 15 families come up. And in the case here, we're looking at new admissions. To review a file, we'll go in and select the one we want. So in this case, we'll look at the Becker family. And you'll basically give this kind of an overview of the family, the tenant ID, the date that the review was created, the housing specialist responsible for the work. And in this case, I've already looked at it. So our status here is completed. And this was a fail file. You'll notice on the left there's two drop-down buttons. The first one being 5A. If there was ever a time where you wanted to go in and manually add a file that wasn't on a data pool, then you could go in and do this. But since that data entry has already been completed, then we'll go directly into the file review section. Our first screen is going to be our file review setup. We're going to determine what program that we're reviewing. So we have HCV, Enhanced Vouchers, QBV, Mod Rehab, and BASH. We've already imported the approved by whoever approved the 5.8 in the system, and then the specialist responsible for the work. Now, I don't know how your department's set up, but we have the ability to identify which team that team member works on, which will help us with reporting. And then if you have any satellite offices, we can work that in there too. The next screen is going to be our action effective date, and that's where we would just go in, grab the 5.8 that's in the file, and make sure that the action type, that we're looking at the right action type, and that the effective date of that action is what's in our what's been imported into our system. The next screen is where we'll actually start the file review. You'll notice that we have two members in this household, and we know that because we've added them. They were on the 5.8 that we added for this family. In this case, we have first name Ted, last name Baker, and Becker, and then our second family member is Victoria Baker. On the screen, we want to go in and verify all the information that is on our 5.8. And to do so, we're going to need to look at the file. I don't know if you guys have paper files or electronic records, but pretty much the process is still the same. We'll go in, we'll look for the birth certificate. We're going to look for the relationship status, if they were a full-time student or live-in aid. We're going to look for their 214. We're going to confirm their Social Security card, certain number. And then, if they have a disability or something like that, we're going to look for verification to that. So basically, we're going to confirm all that household composition information. So if there was a discrepancy, so let's say our first name, the family member, our first family member is named James instead of Tess, we would click the verify button and then just type in the new information. If, let's say, we wanted to add a family member to the household, someone that was on the application, we had all that documentation for, but for some reason they didn't make it to the 5A. It's very simple. Just drop down to the add the new record, type in the name, date of birth, just fill out the information. And it's not going to let me proceed until I type all the information in. So you can see that we've added myself to the household now. Now, from here, what we're going to do is we've confirmed and verified all of our household information, and we've seen all our documents that we need to see. We're going to go in and look at the household member comparison type. And here's where we're actually comparing what we have on the 5.8 to what we found in our file review. You'll notice the discrepancy here is we had 2 people on our 5.8, but in the course of doing this demo several times, I've added someone every single time, so now we have 5 people in the household. From there, we would make a note as far as to what the error type is and what was the reason for the error. Our next section is going to be assets. I'm going to skip the passbook rate. It's just basically you just we'll input your passbook rate, and then you'll never have to see that screen again or use that screen. From there, we'll go in and identify the assets that the household has. So in this case, Victoria Becker has a savings account of $10,000. If we wanted to add an asset, really easy. We have a drop-down menu of all the people that we've in our household. We can add the market value. And then we've added my $1 million asset, my $1 million trust fund. From there, we're going to asset comparison. And we're doing the exact same thing we did in the household member comparison. We're comparing what's on our 5.8 to what we found in our file review. In this case, our numbers are obviously skewed because I added a $1 million trust for myself. It does the math for us, so it tells us what our anticipated income for that asset is, our imputed asset income, and final asset income. The next screen is the income screen, and it works the exact same way as the asset screen. In this case, our family's got multiple income sources, from child support, medical reimbursement, and wages. We would go in and look and see what our 5.8 says versus what our file review says again, compare the two, and then make the notes of what the file discrepancy is. Our next page is our income summary, and basically this we're asking questions here to identify what exactly we had an issue with in our income calculation. Did we fail to count all the income? Did we calculate income incorrectly? Did we not use the EIV stubs? Did we fail to exclude something? So basically it allows us to quantify why the error was made and helps us better to identify what areas our specialists need work with. From there, we'll go to our expense information. It looks exactly like the income and asset. We'll add our expense, making sure that we verify that we have the information in the file. We'll go through. That's just the calculator. Basically, it'll show us the disability threshold. This page is actually if you had a medical expense. You would go through. The same thing with this as far as child care. Asks us the questions: how much income is made possible by the wages. We'll go through, and then we have our comparison screen again, showing us what's on the 5.8 versus what's in our file. We make a note if there was a discrepancy. So you kind of get it's pretty much this in every section. Our TTP section is the same. Would go in and enter the minimum rent if there was a rent exception. From there, we do the TTP comparison. Obviously, our numbers are skewed. You can see that this discrepancy column automatically populates if there's discrepancy. It's not something you guys have to do. Our next screen is our unit information, and we're going to confirm all of our unit data based on documents and files. So we're going to look at the inspection report. We're going to look at the lease. We're going to look at the your payment standards.